In 1957, police found Marie McDonald wailing on the side of the road. It was a chilling sight, but what she told them was even more twisted. She claimed that two men had kidnapped her and held her captive. But the more she talked, the less police believed her. The lives of Marie McDonald's parents foreshadowed their daughter's ultimate trajectory. Before she was born in 1923, her mother was a performer in the Ziegfeld Follies, a series of Broadway theatrical productions popular in the early part of the 20th century. Growing up in Yonkers, New York, Marie showed great promise in school and even got an offer for a scholarship in Columbia University's journalism program. But she already knew what she wanted, and a career behind a typewriter wasn't it. She entered pageants and started modelling before dropping out of high school at 15. In 1940, she met and fell in love with sports writer Richard Allard. This short union became just the first in the series of tempestuous relationships throughout her life. They were wed for 3 weeks before they sought an annulment, reportedly after she discovered that the diamond on her engagement ring was fake. While her first marriage may have been disappointing, Marie had high hopes for her first foray into Hollywood. She moved there at 17 and was ready for her first big break. It came courtesy of band leader Tommy Dorsey, who hired her to sing with his band. He ended up taking her under his wing and even helped her pick her new stage name. Before his suggestion, the beauty queen went by Marie Fry, but he came up with the idea of using her mother's maiden name, McDonald. After her time with Dorsey, Marie finally won the film contract she dreamed of, but she didn't get the overnight success she imagined. She made $75 a week at Universal and had minor roles in a handful of films. Her curves earned her the nickname The Body, but she learned the hard way that wasn't quite enough to put her on the map. Marie thought her talent and looks were enough to make her a star, but she was in for a brutal realisation. When a rumoured romance with actor Bruce Cabot landed her name in the papers, Marie had no choice but to face the facts. She couldn't get the movie reviewers to notice her performances, but she could get the gossip columnists to write about her. This wasn't enough for Universal, who unceremoniously dropped her. Not only did Marie's new agent Vic Orsatti get her a contract with Paramount, he also got her a pay raise. He also had something else for her, something she'd had her eye on for years, a diamond ring, presumably real this time. The pair eloped in Reno, Nevada in 1943.
Mr. Jordan, I hope you won't misunderstand about this man.
Orsatti may have helped get Marie's foot in the door, but she had trouble keeping it there. Paramount passed her off to another studio where she saw moderate success, but another big break was on its way, and it came from an unlikely place. When World War II broke out, Hollywood stars did their best to help with the effort. Some volunteered, while others performed for the USO. Marie took another route. After posing for a magazine fittingly called Yank, Marie became one of the most popular pin-up girls in Hollywood. Like many actresses of her generation, Marie wanted to be recognised for her talent, not for her physical attributes. Time after time, she was disappointed. She found some success in supporting roles, finally netting a contract with MGM in 1946. Their plan was to put her opposite Gene Kelly in 1947's Living in a Big Way. The pair played a couple, but behind the scenes, they did not get along at all. Their lack of chemistry translated to the screen, and the film was one of MGM's biggest flops that year. But then it got worse. MGM put the blame solely on Marie's shoulders. Disgraced, she endured a further indignity when she had to pay to void her contract. And with professional disappointment came personal heartbreak. Business and pleasure don't always mix, and they certainly didn't in the case of Marie and her husband/manager Vic Orsatti. They separated in 1946, and Marie's next boyfriend was none other than notorious mobster Bugsy Siegel. That relationship didn't stand the test of time, with the mobster reportedly breaking it off with Marie because she was chronically late. Her next romantic entanglement ushered in one of the most tumultuous and bizarre periods in her life. Even though she'd only been divorced from Orsatti for a few months, she quickly married Harry Carl in September 1947. Carl was a wealthy businessman, and for the next decade, their relationship was straight out of a soap opera. At first, it was marital bliss for the young couple, but heartbreak was lurking just around the corner. Marie and Harry tried desperately to get pregnant, only for Marie to experience a total of 6 miscarriages. Eventually, they chose to adopt 2 children.
Yeah, I noticed.
The miscarriages weren't the only health problems Marie faced during that time. She also suffered from ulcers and frequent fainting spells. Her husband was so concerned for her health that he spent upward of $1 million on treatments for her, and the drama didn't end there. Harry was devoted to Marie, and she was devoted to their children. Her career was floundering anyway, so she decided to announce her retirement around 1952. Soon she found herself pregnant again. Through the next few months, Marie and Harry waited with bated breath for their baby to come, only to be met with another cruel tragedy. Their child was stillborn at 6 months. Throughout the early years of her marriage, Marie had been hiding a dark secret. She was struggling with an addiction to painkillers, and her issue came to light in June 1954 when officers detained her and charged her with driving while under the influence of sedatives after she crashed into 3 parked cars. She got off with a fine of just $50, but her problems weren't over yet. The next few years saw Marie in a freefall, especially when it came to her marriage to Harry Carl. In November of 1954, the pair divorced, but bizarrely they continued on with their relationship and remarried in June of 1955. They went on to separate no less than 5 times. Marie gave birth to their first biological child, a daughter, in September 1956. After the birth, Marie and Harry remained separated, and Marie quickly began dating debonair Michael Wilding, who'd just gotten divorced from a man-eater who'd make even Marie proud, Elizabeth Taylor. Both she and Marie wed a total of 7 times. However, while that grand achievement took Liz 46 years, Marie went through her 7 marriages in just 25. And while Marie definitely put her husbands through the ringer, it was Harry Carl who was there during the incident that came to tarnish her name forever. It's a story that still perplexes Hollywood historians to this day. Marie McDonald had already seen plenty of scandal, but in 1957 it was reported that she'd been abducted. The authorities eventually found her by the side of the road a day later, but when she spoke to investigators, her story began to unravel, and an even darker tale emerged. It all began late one night in early January 1957. That was when Marie's mother received a phone call that made her blood run cold. The man on the other end claimed that he'd kidnapped her daughter. Driving to Marie's house, her mother found a note from the abductors, claiming that they'd be in contact and not to call the authorities. Soon after, Harry Carl received a similar phone call. In both cases, the caller sounded particularly nervous. Perhaps understandable for someone keeping a starlet in captivity, but something else was off. Marie started making phone calls herself, including one to a gossip columnist named Harrison Carroll. Things were not adding up. Marie also called her then boyfriend Michael Wilding and her agent Harold Plant. She said that 2 men had entered her home demanding money and that they'd sedated her with a mysterious substance. They took her to another house where she'd been able to make the secret calls. As she said, when her captors discovered her talking to Carol, they'd gotten violent with her. Marie said that after the attack she was blindfolded and driven around while the abductors talked about fleeing to Mexico. When a report came over the radio about her kidnapping, they stopped on the side of the road and set her free. Her nightmare was over. Or was it?
There you are. What's the matter with you?
After a truck driver found Marie wandering by the side of the road, he contacted the police. The starlet had injuries consistent with the attack she'd described, and 2 of her teeth were cracked, but she was otherwise fine. The investigator started to interview her, and Marie's twisted tale soon began to unravel. She said the men had come to her door and threatened to shoot into her children's rooms. She said that she let them in, and before they took her, they let her pack a bag and discussed how much ransom money they'd demand for her return. After they took Marie to another house, they made her take sedatives. However, as the authorities continued to interview her, key details would change. Upon inspecting her home, officers retrieved a newspaper that had been used to make the note to Marie's mother. But that wasn't the only bizarre piece of evidence. They also found a copy of a popular novel called The Fuzzy Pink Nightgown. Considering her story, its contents were shocking. The book is about a starlet who's abducted by 2 men. The story's details were far too similar to Marie's account to ignore. Investigators asked Marie to take a polygraph test, but she refused. Ultimately, the authorities were left baffled and unable to investigate much further. A grand jury looked into the matter but ultimately declined to charge anyone. To this day, the supposed abduction is one of Hollywood's strangest mysteries. The authorities weren't the only ones who doubted Marie's story. Her husband, Harry Carl, told officers that Marie was not a well woman, and that he didn't believe her story because the Marie he knew would have put up a fight. She responded by accusing him of being a part of the plot. Somehow, even after accusing each other of taking part in a literal crime, Marie and Harry got back together again before divorcing in 1958, after 5 years of drama. Marie then had a short 10-month marriage with a man named Louis Bass. When she filed for divorce from him, she cited mental cruelty. Marie's next husband, Edward Callahan, made the same claim in his divorce filing, but he didn't stop there. He also accused her of fraud. She accused him of cheating on her and borrowing money to pay for the wedding and honeymoon. That's marriage 6, husband 5, and for those who are keeping score, that means there's just one left.
I've got it all straight in my mind.
Following her divorce from Callahan, Marie was alleged to have had a nervous breakdown. After she spent time in and escaped from a mental hospital, she was detained for faking a prescription.
Money in it too, 'cause just this morning he sold some.
Marie's kidnapping had derailed her career, but by the 1960s she was primed to make a comeback. With the loosening of restrictions around nudity in film, there was suddenly a race to release a movie featuring a fully nude scene with a major star. One of the contenders was a production called Promises, Promises, starring Jane Mansfield. Marie got a part in the film, but it didn't go according to plan. Promises, Promises was never going to be Oscar bait, but the racy flick was guaranteed to get plenty of attention. It was a huge opportunity for Marie, but when she arrived on set, she clashed with Mansfield. But Marie had something of an upper hand. She became involved with the film's producer, Donald F. Taylor, and the two obviously got married. Behind the scenes, Marie continued to struggle with her addiction to pills, and in 1965 it finally caught up with her. Her husband found his wife's lifeless body in their home in October of that year. She was just 42 years old. A team of experts ruled that her overdose was accidental. The aftermath was brutal for those she left behind. Her husband took his own life 3 months later, and Marie's father followed a year after that. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. If you want a say in who we cover next, join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.